I can be brave even when things seem impossible. That's what we're talking about today. Anybody here do anything impossible? Or feel like there's some stuff in your life that may be impossible for you to do? Anybody feel like that? Like maybe a test? Maybe high school? Does that feel impossible? Our memory verse for the day, for the week, is Isaiah 41:10. So do not be afraid. I am with you. Do not be terrified. I am your God. I will make you strong and help you. My powerful right hand will take good care of you. I always do what is right. Man, these verses keep getting longer and longer. I know. Soon we'll get a shorter one. Hold questions to the end, please. I'll get to that. And this is the truth that we need to know for this whole time, is that I can trust God no matter what. We're going to start off, if you got your Bible, in Exodus 14. It's the second book of the Bible, Genesis and then Exodus. A little bit of background. We're talking about Moses. Moses led who? The Israelites through the wilderness. The Israelites were slaves for 400 years. God freed them. Now they're in the wilderness. He set them free. They're being chased by the Egyptians, who said, oh wait, we just got rid of our free labor. Let's go get them back. And so they start chasing them in the wilderness. Exodus 14. Starting with verse 10. Follow me if you would, please. As Pharaoh and his army approached, the people of Israel could see them in the distance marching toward them. They were in the desert. There was about 1 million people. Do you guys know what 1 million people looks like?
A lot.
Have you ever seen the Super Bowl on TV?
Yeah.
You see all those people in the stands?
Yeah.
That's not even 1 million people.
It's not even
I
100,000.
Okay, that's not even 100,000. So 20 Super Bowl domes full of people walking through the wilderness, and that would take a long time to move them. It would take a very long time. And if they all started running, everyone would get trampled. They couldn't escape from the Egyptians. So the people began to panic, and they cried out to the Lord for help. They turned against Moses and complained, "Why did you bring us out here to die in the wilderness? Weren't there enough graves for us in Egypt? Why did you make us leave? Didn't we tell you to leave us alone while we were still in Egypt? Our Egyptian slavery was far better than dying out here in the wilderness." So these people, they've already given up. Okay, it seemed impossible. This moment in time where they're right there. Now Moses told the people, "Don't worry about it. God's going to fight for you. He's gotten you this far. He performed the 10 plagues. Have you guys heard of the 10 plagues? Sending insects, sending boils, frogs, all these bad things. God did that. And all the people saw that. So it's like they should have already trusted God. But they get to this point where they feel like it's impossible. And this is what God does. God is taking the people He's leading them by a cloud. Okay, so pretend you're out in the wilderness and you're outside, you see this cloud moving. And it stops, and then it moves only as you follow it. So that's kind of interesting. And then at night, it turns into a cloud of fire that kind of lights up the camp. And you can see it. It's like, wow, that's really cool. What God did was, at night, He would put this cloud in between, and in the daytime, He put this cloud in between the Egyptians and the Israelites to keep darkness to the Egyptians. And they were confused. They couldn't find them. They were out in the wilderness. So I don't know how close they got, but I have a feeling that they got close enough to hear the Egyptians. The Israelites probably heard them, and we know they were close enough to see, but they probably heard some of the tracks of the chariots coming. And God told Moses, just take your staff and put it out over the sea, because they stopped at the Red Sea. I'm sure you've heard the story where God parts the Red Sea. But have you heard this? When Moses puts the staff over the Red Sea, You've seen the TV shows or the little videos where he puts it in, it's like, the whole thing just goes up. Well, I have a feeling it didn't happen that quick, because in the Bible, let me read this to you. It says right here, in verse 21 of chapter 14, then Moses raised his hand over the sea, and the Lord opened up a path through the water with a strong east wind. The wind blew all that night, turning the seabed into dry land. So it was happening all night long. So God was slowly taking this wind and blowing down this path. So it was probably like, instead of going that, probably went a little bit slower, okay? And then by morning, there was this path, and there was walls of water on each side of them. Now the reason I want to talk about that is because they spent the whole night just camping out with the Egyptians within eyeshot, maybe earshot. And so just imagine, like, how scary would that be, knowing that people who want to kill you, you can hear them, okay? And I have some analogies to kind of bring this home to you all. So pretend you get home, and you're in your room, you're doing your homework. And then your dad comes home. Mom's already there, kind of helping out, and they get into this argument. And you've heard this a million times. Your parents get into fights, and you're in your room, and they get louder, and they get louder, and you hear stuff moving, stuff being thrown maybe, and you're just in your room wondering, God, why is this happening to me? Why are my parents fighting like this? And you're scared, because you have no idea what's going to happen to your parents. You don't know if they love each other. You don't know if they want to be together anymore. And this fighting just seems to go on forever. And that's a moment where you have fear in your heart, like you're scared about what this situation is bringing. And so you don't know what's going to happen. This seems like an impossible situation. Or your dad comes home and he's drunk again. After being drunk every weekend. Okay? Now, if you haven't experienced this, it's not really something that's funny, because he could be abusive. And so you're in your room and you lock the door and you just hope to God that he's not able to break the door down, because you know that you're going to smell that breath again, and he's going to get really close to you and yell at you, and you have fear. You're scared. You're not sure what's going to happen. You think this is an impossible situation. Or you're in this situation where you've got a test on Friday, and you're in sports, and you're practicing every night for 3 hours, but you don't even know when you have time to study. And this test is huge. And you need to get a good grade on this, because if you don't get a good grade on this test, you're not going to get a good grade in this class, you're not going to get a good grade on GPA, and you can't get into the college that you want. There's a lot of fear right there. Okay?